Our 0712 to 23385 is the SMS line, or on Facebook page Radio Waumini 88.3 FM. As I told you earlier, teacher Deborah will be here to continue the conversation we began. All right? Yes, and she is here. Remember last week she was not here, and she said, Bramwell, I am held up in a meeting. Siku hizi amekuwa busy. Teacher Deborah, how are you?
I am okay. How are you, Bram?
Very fine. Very fine. Happy to see you today.
Happy to see you too.
Last week I understood when assignment calls, respond.
Yeah,
okay?
You have to.
Don't give excuses.
Yeah.
When it calls,
yes.
Hata kama ni usiku wa manane, you respond.
You respond.
Okay?
I actually wanted to make you know earlier.
No problem.
To inform you earlier, but it was just that.
That is life. That is life.
I was adulting.
That is life. Assignment. Yeah. God was waiting for you on the other side. Mm-hmm. That is where you had to go.
Yes.
Anyway, how have you been?
I've been okay.
Mm-hmm.
God has been so good to me.
Happy to hear that.
We're doing something about God is able, and I am seeing the ableness or the ability of God to work in our lives.
You know, you have said a statement that I always tell people. Let me use your words. I am seeing God's ableness.
Yes.
I always say, you will always read that God is able.
Yes.
Until you are at the bottom, you will never know how able God is.
God is, yeah.
That is the perfect, that is the perfection of God. And that is exactly why I tell people that with God, you experience Him. And that is exactly why you are here today.
Yes,
to
yes.
actually equip our people with the wisdom. And remember, this is the conversation that we began last time. When the students were reporting to school, we talked to students, we talked to parents, we talked to teachers. And today, we are going back to the students. Why are we going back to the students? Remember, my dear listener, Deborah is a teacher. Kindly introduce yourself. Let me not do it when you are here.
My name is Deborah Joy Juma. I am a high school teacher by profession, and currently in transition into chaplaincy and chaplaincy in learning institutions. I'm so passionate about growing young people holistically beyond the classroom. So I have this company called Beyond Classroom Experience, where I go to places, train teachers, train young people, and support people in just getting to know more about themselves and exploring more, especially as teachers and as students.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beyond the classroom.
Yeah.
That is Teacher Deborah for you. And now, Teacher Deborah, we're going to be having a very interesting conversation because we are focusing on these teenagers here.
Yes.
Because teenagers are going through different challenges here and there. And a time has come where you and I have to rise up and to hold their hands.
Yes.
Okay? And that is why God has given you this wisdom so that you can talk to parent on what they're supposed to do. So today we are talking about, is self-care necessary for our student?
Right. Yeah, especially right now after the KCSE results are still fresh. Yeah, we are still discussing. I am so sure I'm not in school, but I know there's a conversation going on right now this term about KCSE results.
Definitely.
And people are being held accountable. And so some bosses are making teachers start looking for ways in which they can model their lessons and the curriculum to help the learners improve, especially those students, those schools that dropped. And those schools that improved, they are discussing how to maintain and how to maybe rise above that. So there are lots of conversations of that kind that are going on right now in boardrooms. And so if we are not very careful, then the student may end up suffering.
That is
because,
true. Pressure.
Pressure comes and the teacher has to perform. The student now is actually the main person here. Because you can, there used to be a saying, I don't know if it's a saying or a proverb, that you can take a donkey to the river, but you cannot force it to take the water, to drink that water. So the teachers have to push this donkey, and it's the donkey that has that holds the key, has the control of either drinking the water or not drinking the water. And so what happens sometimes is this person who is taking care of the donkey can push and push and push and say, you have to do this.
Exactly.
And so that's why we are coming with this angle of, is self-care really important? Because we know of young people, these students who wake up as early as 3 a.m. and go to sleep as late as midnight. And these people are still going through lessons. We understand the 844 curriculum. Thanks to the CBC that is coming up, it looks a bit less demanding. But the 844 system, most students have to wake up very early. The whole day they are in class, they are doing lessons and all that. And then in the evening, most of them continue. I remember when I was a student, not very long ago, I used to go to sleep with a torch. And instead of sleeping, I would read inside my blanket.
What?
You know? And in the morning, by 4, I am awake.
Look at that.
So if we are not there to support these young people with self-care, then they're not going to perform. Those meetings we are having in boardrooms, as well as
won't bear any fruits. And Mwalimu, you've actually brought it a very, very interesting angle. And as far as these teachers are pushing, and as far as the parents are pushing for better results, we are forgetting that in the process, there is what we call fatigue that is going to come to these students. So tell us, Mwalimu, how does self-care look like for these teenagers that we're talking about here today?
Yeah, self-care for a teenager looks like slowing down.
Okay.
Slowing down, and I'm putting slowing down in quotes because this doesn't mean that the student will not be working hard in school, but it's slowing down in terms of engagement. You know, there are students who are multi-talented in school, for example. They are good at academics and they're also good at co-curricular activities. So these students, if they are not taken care of, then that means they will go down. There are students who come from families that have not modeled them well, and we are going to talk about the reason why self-care is hard for teenagers, because they have not they have not been supported very well to know what self-care is. Some of them will not even wash their uniform. I have seen students when I was a teacher, you see a student who has only a collar, and it is made in a way you think they are wearing a blouse or a shirt, but it's not, you know. And they're just washing up here, and some of them don't shower. Some of them have challenges with just grooming. I mean, brushing their teeth and their shoes and arranging their stuff. And some of them wear this uniform that, I mean, so self-care looks like slowing down and also personal appearance for a student and the holistic nature of a student in a school environment. The way they present themselves. We can call it the presentability, both mental health wise, both classwork wise, both personal grooming and stuff. So that's how self-care in a nutshell looks like for a young person. Yes.
I like how you are putting it, Mwalimu, slowing down.
Yes.
And not just students as well. As you're talking about slowing down, most of us are having it difficult or are having difficulties in slowing down. Why? Because the way we have been brought up, it is that you only get validation after results.
After results,
that's
true.
Minus the results, you are useless. Okay.
Right.
That is why, even in the corporate world, you look at the workplaces, we have those people who are busy. Okay, they are busy, but they're not productive.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you a joke. I attended a conference. It was a Christian conference not long ago in December. And then there's this guy. Am I supposed to call that person a guy? Yeah, he's a guy. Anyway, there's this guy. He's a pastor who was talking about people, the way we, you know, I'm in the chaplaincy office, and the way we work so hard and we want to reach out to people and tell them about God and tell them to pray. And so this guy told us, you guys need to slow down. God is not going to only use you to fulfill the Great Commission.
Thank you.
He has so many people. Slow down. And
True. we need to learn to slow down. Very important.
So when you say that, I just remember that.
But again, slowing down has an element of disconnecting.
Right.
Most of us have a struggle with disconnecting.
Hey, I had, again, this is out of context again, but let me just bring it out. Normally, these priests, pastors, and people of the clergy have what we call sabbatical leaves. And so they go, they refresh, and then they come back.
Yes.
Do you know, I heard of some who actually say no to that leave.
Look at that.
They want, I want, souls are perishing. They need to know God. I mean, so I think we have that notion, and when we'll be talking about how the social factors have affected the students and the way they cannot slow down, it's part of how we as grown-ups are. We don't want to slow down. We don't want to rest. In fact, when you're sleeping and you're just sleeping in for a few hours, you look like a failure.
Exactly.
You look like
unalala na wenzako wanatia bidii. Wewe si mwanaume kama wengine.
Right? Yeah.
And that is why you find people they are actually depressed out here.
Yeah, maybe we can just go directly, because we have already modeled to the listeners how self-care looks like for students. Maybe we can just go into the factors, some of the factors that make these students not know how to do self-care or not be into the self-care. And one of them is just what we've been sharing, the social factors, the way we are socialized. We tend to really attach performance to the person. We cannot separate. And so these students, the reason why they are waking up very early in the morning, by some of them as early as 2 a.m. are awake to go and read, and some of them are reading and studying, but it's not working. It's not working. They're still scoring. I used to have a friend who worked so hard. She would get up early, go to school, work so hard, go to class, leave the classroom late in the evening, but she was always the last person.
Look at that.
Yes, she was always the last person. So we have attached value to the hyper performance. And so young people, students are always working hard, and the hard is not defined. And that is just one of the factors. We are modeling. When we'll be talking about the resolve and how to support, we will see about modeling. Because these social factors have made the young people really know that unless I get this, unless I work up to this extent, I'm a failure. And then some of them just lack awareness. In the social setup, people don't talk about self-care. So they know they're supposed to do self-care, but they don't know how.
Exactly.
They don't know how, because they have never seen anybody saying you can do self-care as a young person. So they don't know how that is done, So they don't have any awareness. Some of them are so self-conscious. So they keep asking themselves, so what if I do this and then this happens? How am I going to deal with this? And so they are so self-conscious, they cannot do what I normally tell my students and young people. They do not give themselves grace. There's something about giving yourself grace.
I like
so
that.
If they are so self-conscious, they do not know how to give themselves grace. And so also another thing is the attitude that these people have. They have this attitude where they have always been told you have to be this, and so because it comes with some sort of punishment or stuff, they are not okay. They are not open to it. They don't even want to do it. So these social factors have affected them in so many ways. And then we also have environmental factors, and in the school environment we will talk about the curriculum. When we started, I said we are grateful to the 844 to the CBC system, because one of the things that the CBC system has done is that it has slowed some of these things, and so students have like they don't have a lot to do, a lot of memorization and cramming and whatever in theory. They have a bit of practice, and actually mostly practice.
Yeah.
So in the 844 that is ending, and these are the high schoolers we are talking about right now, time is not there. One of the environmental factors affecting them in the school environment is time. Lessons are there, and after the lesson, every teacher is giving them homework or assignment, and they have to research. They have to. I remember we used to be beaten because of diagrams. You even forget you had a diagram that you are supposed to draw, because there's just so much that is going on. So time is an issue for them, and so if there is nobody to support them to do self-care, they won't even know how to manage that time, because it is part of self-care. You know. And some of these people now, we also talk about the parental support. They have never seen their parents say, you can rest. I remember when I was growing up, I used to wake up and work the whole day, and then study in the evening, go to bed, get up, work the whole day. There is no time you are resting in between the day. So because they have not seen it from their caregivers or their closest people who they believe in. These are significant people in their lives. So because they have not seen that, what happens? They don't know. They don't know if self-care is a thing. And some of them have also been influenced. We talk about peer influence. These young people come to school, and because so and so says, when you try to slow down, you're going to perform in this manner, you're not going to do well in this and this. So they have that, they start developing a negative attitude. They start developing a negative attitude, and some of them, those who are day scholars, for example, have what we call competing interests. And in competing interests, we talk of things like screen time.
Some of the things that you actually highlighted is that it has never been modeled into them. So they don't know. You cannot practice what you don't know.
What you don't know,
That is why it is very difficult for them to actually acknowledge that a time has come where I just need to disconnect. But most importantly, Mwalimu, you said that indeed one of the reasons to why it is very difficult for them to actualize self-care, it is because they have been told and nurtured to work hard. And the hard is not defined.
It's not defined,
That also brings in the element of success. Do you think it is high time we as parents defined what success looks like to our children?
Exactly. Last year we did a program called High Start, and one of the things we were doing in High Start, it was for high schoolers, those students who are just joining high school, and we were talking about what success really means, because some of the students had not performed well according to the society. But you know, success is actually not those papers. Success is much more. It's much more than just paperwork. I have seen people who scored by the way, I keep asking and wondering, I keep asking myself and I keep wondering, if I got an A, a clean A, and I got A's in everything the way my parents wanted, would I really have managed to do these courses like medicine? Because I know myself.
I like that.
And so you see if we have not defined what success is, and we think it is how students perform in class only, it's chalk and blackboard, pen and paper. If that is what success is, that is why the students do not know even what self-care is, because they are striving, and they have heard about these white collar jobs, and the way this is a luxurious profession, and you will be paid this amount of money, and people will be looking for you left, right and center, and you will be traveling and exploring the world and getting this amount of money. But really, is that what success is? You and I are adults now. We know people who are in these quote-unquote luxurious professions and are not having any peace.
That is true.
They're not enjoying. They have the money, yes, but the money is not helping them in any way.
That is a fact.
So if we don't define success, then we are going to lose these people, because they will work hard, the hard that is undefined right now in high school, when they get out here, they will continue working hard.
Even harder.
And that is why they end up in depression,
committing suicide.
Yeah. A young person doesn't even understand that failure is part of life. That you can make a mistake and pick yourself, gather your pieces together, dust yourself and move on. Yes. They don't understand that. They feel, mom said we need to work hard. Dad said, my teacher said, the school expects. And so they have this knowledge and this understanding of I have to work and work and work and work to be a person. But so success is actually never achieved
at the end of the day.
It is not.
And that is why you see what is happening in the job market. You see what is happening to our young men and women. Okay, when they face a little bit of pressure either in the job or the first thing that they put on the table is quitting.
Yes, resignation immediately. I can resign. And then especially if that young person has papers, they're like, people are waiting for me out here, left, right, and center. So what will I do? What should I do? Just resign and move on. Get another company, work for them. They get tired, I move on. You know, because they have not learned that actually you can make a mistake, and success is not just always doing the right thing.
Okay.
You know, there's somebody who was telling me the other day, a friend of mine, he's an elder, you know, in our church, and we have conversations once in a while. So we were talking about this notion where people think that they have to work so hard. What we are discussing, they have to work so hard to earn approval. And so he was just explaining to me that, you know, these things out here, sometimes you don't even need to work the hard, the undefined hard.
Yes.
You just need to be smart, develop yourself, maneuver well, and then you find the peace.
And you know, that is very true, Mwalimu, because you've just used the word earning approval.
Yes.
You realize that most of these young men that are talking about here and the self-care and the reason as to why they're having difficulties in taking care of themselves is that they have this mentality of that their role in life is to please their parents.
Right.
So everything they're doing, I'm doing it for mom. I'm doing it for dad. Have you ever heard of this, or I'm sure you've been in school, especially university or colleges where this happens a lot. Somebody has gone for a course, amemaliza, be it BCom, be it teaching, be it engineering. Hiyo ni ya mama. Sasa nataka kufanya yangu. I'm sure you've come across such cases.
I am in that category. My mom, I'm so sorry to say this on air, but my mom really believed in me being a teacher. And of course, with time, people have affirmed it that I'm a very good teacher. But I didn't want to be a teacher. I wanted actually to do something in line with communication. But my mom believed in education a lot. So what I did so well. Went to KU. Did education, practiced teaching. If I combine my untrained teacher experience and the time I had been trained, I taught for 10 years in the classroom. And then I started realizing actually my passion is beyond the classroom.
Look at that.
And that's why I have beyond classroom experience right now.
Yes.
Because I realized, no, I was not made for just being in the classroom and teaching. And so, I did the course. And I told my mom, now I can move on and do the things I want.
Now here you are.
Here I am.
You see, it is not bad. The trick is to learn to leverage between what you've done and your passion.
Yeah, and your passion, right.
If not for that course teaching, you wouldn't be here today.
I wouldn't be, right.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to affirm that. Yeah.
And I'm sure one of the things that you worked on is coming to an understanding that a time has come where I have to be myself. Right. I have to build my own life. I have to take my path. I have to create a life around my own unique values.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure you reached at that point.
Yes, I did. And of course, some people actually don't understand how you can go to university and study for 4 years and then not join the the profession, and it's because that is not what I want to do. I sense that God has something different, and He wants me to. And of course, I am not saying I'm trashing my classroom experience and stuff. If this other thing doesn't work out, because I'm trusting God as I do it, if it doesn't work out, well and good, I'll go back to the classroom and teach.
Right.
You know, but if you realize the passion in you, then you can take a different route. But what happens to our young people? They have not been modeled for what success looks like.
Okay.
And so they are always trying and working hard. Even these students who do co-curricular activities, you find a student trying in music, in what are other clubs? I have forgotten. Environmental, they are in street talk club, they are in a health club, they are in a money club. So if you are not modeling self-care and helping these students to slow down, they get lost.
That is true.
They get lost.
Okay. Now, when you're talking about getting lost, the other reason or the other way in which our children are getting lost is by becoming everything to everybody.
Right.
Being a people pleaser.
Yeah. And maybe at this point, we can jump to how we can help some of these character traits, because I feel like they are linked together.
Exactly.
They are integrated, both how they are behaving and the way we need to support them, like they are integrated.
Exactly.
So these young people who are people pleasers, these young people who follow the crowd, these young people who cannot stand up for themselves, the root cause of all these things is the model they have.
Okay.
So my number one, and this is going to stand out, I will give other remedies and other things we can do to support young people, but number one is modeling. Do you really understand what we mean by role model? Bram, you have heard people saying, he is my role model, she is my role model. What are these people looking at when they say this person is a role model? It's the holistic behavior of this person. The way I carry myself. I have mentees, and they come to where I am, they call me, they talk to me, and I ask them, why, what do you want? What are you looking for? And they tell me, it's because you carry yourself in this and this manner, and we see you living it. We see you talking about this and actually living it. And so there is integrity that can actually be, people can see it, and they can read it, and they know it, you know. And so if we as adults, if we as parents, if we are as caregivers, as teachers, as administrators, do not know what self-care is, or are not practicing self-care can never happen for young people.
That is true.
If I get to the office from morning to evening, I'm stuck on my computer and not interacting with anyone out here, not talking. So you will be telling a young person, you need to get out, meet with a person from another class, interact with them. But you yourself, you don't even know the person next office.
Yeah.
It is you and your computer and your books and your whatever, and you know. So my number one remedy or number one support is modeling. Preaching the water and taking the water.
Okay.
Not preaching the water and taking the wine. If I am telling a young person that success actually doesn't look like this, is that my philosophy? As in, is it seen in me and how I view success? Like when people generally look at me, is what I'm telling them that is not success, what I am doing on my end as success?
You brought out a very interesting point. Whatever I tell them to do, the first question should be, am I living it?
Yes.
Am I doing it?
Yes.
That is why, Mwalimu, so many young men and women out here, they're suffering from what we call cognitive dissonance, whereby the inner child is at war with what they are seeing outside.
Right.
Deborah, I'm telling you, you must be at home by 6. Na mimi mwenyewe naingia saa 6 usiku.
Yes, hata ukikuja sijui ulifika
saa ngapi.
Yes. And then you are telling these young people that you guys, you need to do this.
Yes.
You are a father or a mother, and you're telling your young person, you need to be sexually pure. Or you are a teacher. You are telling students, maybe you are teaching what is it called, life skills. Life skills by default. Umeambiwa ati you will be teaching, the way administrators do. Bram, you will be teaching life skills. You will be the CU patron.
Yes.
You will be the YCS patron. You will lead the Muslims. You will do this, so they appoint you. So if you are not able to model that, utakuwa naambia watoto ende mass, and then they look at you like we mwenyewe hata Catholics have this moment where they go to get the sacrament, and they are normally in a very humble mode because it's a connection they are having with God. And so if you during that time umeenda umenyenyekea hivyo, but the students know you otherwise,
it is true.
You cannot model.
You
you cannot model. If I am telling young people that you need to avoid these sexual relations, and every evening wanaona nimechomoka na kamtu kwangu, especially these teachers who live in the teachers quarters. Today you have this one, the next one another one, the next one another one. Modeling,
very important. In fact, the thing that I always tell people is that the biggest authority is not the office you're holding or the title you're bearing. It is what we call moral authority.
Right.
That is the highest level of authority.
Yes.
Other than role modeling, mwalimu, how else can we help these teenagers?
Yeah, we can also help them to practice positive affirmations.
Right.
And affirmations, this one, I don't mean the kujichocha part. The one you tell yourself, I am this, no. Look at a student. Identify at least one positive thing that they do, and then affirm that. And then every now and then help them to slow down and grow that thing too.
Okay.
It will help them, especially in the mental health aspect. They have something, and that is self-care for them, because if their mental health is messed up, then they're not going to thrive.
That is
they're
true.
not going to perform well, So ensure that at least once in a while you make your students, the way we tell students repeat this and say this, and we mean it. There's a way that thing changes and shifts something. There's a teacher, he's called Mr. Onyango, my former teacher of English in high school. Mr. Onyango was a good teacher to me, and there's a time he would just tell us these positive things about ourselves. And he would call you and then tell you, there's this thing that you're doing and you're doing so well. And that positive affirmation makes this person know, so I can actually grow in this area.
Yeah.
You are good in this. You are good at this. You can do this. You can do this, So at the end of the day, this person actually gets to slow down. They get to slow down and stop over-performing. Okay? Yeah, they stop doing that. Other things are actually simple things. Things like grooming can help to support us to a young person with what we call self-care. At adolescence, I don't know what happens, especially to boys. They don't want to take a shower. Maybe you can tell us. What happens? Why do you guys don't want to take showers when you're at that age?
Mwalimu, you put me on the spot.
And then your parent can actually buy for you perfume, but you don't use it. What happens? You tell me.
When we are in adolescence, we are in what we call a freeze mode.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because I see most young people, and especially boys, they don't want to take and actually girls too sometimes. I have been in boarding schools, and I see the way we push the girls to take care of to take a bath and at least ensure their clothes are clean and air their clothes outside, and so these simple things is actually self-care for a student.
It is true.
And don't punish them, don't push them, because you don't know why they are not taking that shower.
Some
of them are coming from communities where taking a shower is not even there. I remember when I was growing up, I used to shower, I think, 3 times in a week. And I am waking up, napeleka ng'ombe, I'm taking care of our cattle and whatever, and I want shower. So I'm used to that life. So I needed somebody to actually tell me, by the way, you need to shower every day. So I had to learn and have that discipline. So instead of condemning and embarrassing them, like how other teachers do, they embarrass, they say, come here, look at you, you're so dirty, tell everybody, not that. Just having a conversation with them and letting them know the importance of grooming.
And Mwalimu, you've actually made me remember something, and this is one thing that I always tell people. You see, the moment you see either a boy or a girl out there, they have drastically changed in terms of grooming. You need to understand that there is a problem with them.
Yes.
So instead, just as you said, instead of shaming, you need to go an extra mile, your investigations. Because, Mwalimu, you will agree with me that change doesn't happen in a vacuum.
Yes.
It doesn't.
Right.
It began from somewhere.
From somewhere.
So it is your responsibility as a parent or as a teacher to go and find out what is
the why. We have talked about the why a lot. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then these young people also, we have talked about how they struggle with balance and everything. They have issues with feeding. Some of them want to eat things that are not healthy. And this is an advantage for the boarding schools because they have a menu, and I know the school designs it in a manner that it has good food. It may not be good. Well made, but good in terms of the nutrients. People complain of eating githeri every day, but the school is ensuring you have carbohydrates and proteins every day, They're ensuring so your growth is happening well. But these students who are day scholars, for example, or these students who are in international schools and stuff like that, if we don't help them when they come home or when they are going, they get so much into eating junk, and so their nutrition is not so good, and so even the way they perform slows down, and also these now I'll add in managing screen time for them. That is self-care, ensuring that there's a time limit, and talk to them. Don't impose rules. Don't say bring your phone and then you keep it. Talk to them, make them understand why they cannot use the phone at this time. Why? So with time, if this young person is so into watching reels and TikTok and videos, actually their brain slows down. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, that is true.
What happens, the brain gets what we call arousal. So inakwanga iko very active. It just wants to watch those things, and now it cannot be creative to think about writing things, and like creativity goes very down.
That is very
because this person is used to just watching and comedy, laughing, all those things. When you're scrolling the TikToks and the reels and the whatever, they make you hyper in a way.
And you see, those people who design these particular apps, they actually understand that very well. Look at TikTok, for example. It is just meant for short videos.
Yes.
That is exactly what the mind wants.
Yes, the mind wants.
Fast as you move.
And there's a hormone that is called delta force beam. That hormone is purely for that. It purely makes somebody addicted. And in young people, the adolescents, it's actually high in their brains. So the more they overindulge in TikTok and reels and all those things, screen and whatever, that hormone grows and grows, and so the addiction comes in. And so that's why you see a young person, after they leave school, they are so addicted with their phones, and they cannot even be productive, and so most of them end up depressed, or they end up struggling with different mental health issues, because the addiction hormone really got into them. So please try to control that. Please try to control to make them understand the importance of physical connections. Young people, and actually I think it's the world, again we go back to modeling, we are so much into talking with our fingers
yes, that is
than
true.
calling someone or meeting up with someone and getting to know how they are doing. Of course, adulting is doing its thing, but we can be intentional and come up with something that is workable and at least once in a while interact with people physically. Nowadays, I have to plan. Like I said, my schedule is full, but I plan and ensure I have at least an hour or two at the end of the week where I can physically connect with someone and engage them. So these young people also need to be encouraged. It's not only about being in class and studying. That interaction with that Form 1 student as a Form 4 student makes a whole difference. They will remind them of something. They will tell them about something. They will teach them. This Form 4, when he or she is explaining to the junior student about a certain concept and just maybe the approach to use when studying, it can help these young person slow down.
That is very true, because if you look out here, you realize that most people don't have social skills. The face-to-face interactions has really subsided because of the technology. Again, it is our responsibility. Is there any other thing that we can do so that we can help these young people?
There is something that we underestimate a lot, and I think later in life it becomes very important. I listen to Grace and I hear her talking about it a lot, and it is the power of journaling. And I think journaling can be taught even in high school and to primary school kids. They need to understand how to put down the thoughts that they are having, and journaling goes hand in hand with self-talk, what they tell themselves, because they will encounter people who are bullies, people who are whatever, and so they want to work so hard to earn again, like I told you, to earn their approval and to make themselves look like they are good people. And so at the end of it all, we end up losing them, or they end up stressed and depressed, So teaching a young person how to journal as an adult, I know you can do this. You don't need to have the expertise to tell them this. Just tell them to learn how to brain dump. Write down what they are thinking, what they are feeling, and how that is affecting them. Just that. They don't even have to resolve, but just that, removing it from the mind really helps. Very
important. And all in all, Mwalimu, as we are doing this, I believe the other thing that we also need to remind these teenagers is to actually understand to manage their expectations.
Yes.
For example, if your parent is a goal-oriented person, it is either my way or the highway. You need to understand as a teenager that your parent might not change, might never change, and they may not see you the way you want to be seen. Why? Because of their upbringing as well.
Yes, their own undealt with traumas and all those. And now this brings in this thing. We are also having a class this Saturday with Grace Kariuki, and it is dubbed Healing Shame in Marriage. So we'll be talking about the drama stage of marriage and how, not we, because I am not talking about it. Grace will be helping us in that, and she will be talking about how shame affects people in marriage, and sometimes this is projected to our children, to our young people who we are now talking about. We are not able to model to them because we are also dealing with our own shame. And there are these 5 years of marriage that she calls them drama stage, the first 5 years of marriage. And some of us, it has really affected us in different ways. Children have been affected in different ways, and so she will be helping us know how do we cope and what do we do. So we'll be doing that on Saturday from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. On Zoom, so it's a virtual class. Group therapy would say, and the charges are for an individual person, it's 750 shillings only. Imagine. 750 shillings only, and you're investing in yourself. And then for a couple, it is 1500 shillings. So we'll have 2 sessions. So this first session starts on Saturday, 8 p.m. So you need to reach out to me. Yes.
Through which number?
Through my number, 0701469644.
Again?
Reach out to me, 0701469644. 46 96 44. Yeah, ensure you just leave me a message or call me. Let me know you want to join the class or the session on healing from shame in marriage, and I'll be glad to help you get the details on how to get into that class.
All right.
Yes.
This coming Saturday.
From
8 what time?
8 p.m. Yeah.
Dear listener, there you have it. This class will be conducted by Grace, okay, with the help of Mwalimu Deborah here. So make an appointment, my dear listener. Remember, I've always encouraged you that when such opportunities arise, make effort to be a part of the team.
Yeah.
Okay, because there is a very high likelihood, my dear listener, that you will remain the same way you were yesterday.
Yes.
Except for two things. The people you meet and the books you read.
That's true. That's very true.
So if you want to remain the same, it is okay. But if you want to become intentional so that you can change, my dear listener, this is the golden opportunity that Deborah has given you, a class that will be administered by Grace herself right from 8 p.m. on Saturday, Healing Shame in Marriage.
Right.
And most of us are suffering from that.
Yes, and I also need to let teachers and administrators of schools, board members and whatever, if you need me to come and facilitate a meeting and help your students learn more about self-care and how to do it, I am also open for booking. The same number, 0701 469644. I'll be glad to support you.
All right.
Yes.
Right. That is it. Thank you so much, Mwalimu.
You're welcome.
Always a pleasure having you every Wednesday.
Yes.
Okay. Looking forward to next week as well.
Yes.
God willing.
Thank you.
Dear listener, remember, your highest self is the part of you that doesn't go into your programmed ways. Your highest self is the steady version of you who makes the wise choice. Make the wise choice today by joining this Saturday's class right from 8 p.m. It will be on Zoom by Grace, Healing Shame in Marriage. Book your slots today by calling this number 0701 46 96 44. That is the only way you will get a slot. 0701 46 96 44. And as always, tell a friend to tell a friend. Mwalimu, asante sana. I know you are a busy lady.
Yes.
Let me release you to go
Thank you.
attend to other issues that are waiting you, right?
Thank you.
Have a very productive Wednesday.
You too.
All right, my dear listener, that has been our time. Taking a very, very short break for news highlights. Then I will be back with the last hour of the Morning Tide.